For all of human history, for 100,000 years, our species has lived under the shadow of a single, universal, and undefeated tyrant. It is a tyrant that has taken everything from us. It took our greatest thinkers, our bravest leaders, our artists, our innovators, and our families. It is a prison we're all born into, a sentence we all must serve. We do not call it by its name. We call it the natural order of things. We call it aging. We watch it happen to our pets. We see it in our parents, and we feel it in our own bones, the slow, inevitable, and cruel decay. The loss of memory, the loss of strength, the loss of self. We have been taught to accept this, to call it dignity, to call it grace. But what if it is not the natural order? What if it is not a process to be accepted, but a disease to be fought? This is the end of old age hypothesis. It is not a fantasy. It is a scientific, biological, and medical argument that within the next 100 years, humanity will not just challenge this tyrant, we will defeat it. This is not a story about living forever. This is a story about living healthier indefinitely. This is the story of the great liberation, the coming moment when humanity will, for the first time, break free from its oldest biological prison. To understand how we can tear down the prison, we must first understand how it was built. Why do we age? For decades, we thought it was just wear and tear. But the real answer is far more precise and far more fixable. Aging, as we understand it now, is not a single process. It is a collection of specific mechanical failures. Think of them as the 9 hallmarks of aging, the 9 cracks in our biological code. For example, hallmark 1, telomere attrition. Think of your DNA as a shoelace, and the telomere is the little plastic cap at the end. Every time your cell divides, that cap gets a tiny bit shorter. Eventually, the cap is gone. The shoelace, your DNA, begins to unravel. The cell can no longer divide safely, and it either dies or becomes dysfunctional. This is a root cause of aging. Hallmark 2, mitochondrial dysfunction. Your mitochondria are the power plants in every single one of your cells. As we age, these power plants get rusty and inefficient. They produce less energy and more toxic exhaust or free radicals. This systemic power failure is why we feel old, why we get frail, why our organs slow down. And perhaps the most critical hallmark, cellular senescence. This is the zombie cell problem. Sometimes when a cell is damaged or stressed, it's supposed to die, a process called apoptosis. But it doesn't. It enters a state of suspended animation. It doesn't die, but it doesn't work. It becomes a zombie cell. And it's a mean zombie cell. It sits there, taking up resources and secreting a cloud of inflammatory goo that damages all the healthy neighboring cells. One zombie cell can turn its entire neighborhood into a dysfunctional, inflamed, aged tissue. This is what getting old is. It is telomeres shortening. It is power plants failing. It is zombie cells taking over. And for 100,000 years, we've looked at these mechanisms and called them destiny. But scientists have a different word for them. They call them targets. If aging is a set of mechanical failures, then it is no longer a philosophical problem. It is an engineering problem. And humanity is, above all else, a species of engineers. The 21st century is the first moment in history where we have not just identified the prison walls, but have begun to forge the keys to unlock them. The end of old age hypothesis is no longer a what if, it's a when, based on 3 revolutionary tools. Tool number 1, the janitors, senolytics. Remember those zombie cells? What if we could just take out the trash? This is the science of senolytics. Scientists have developed and are testing right now a class of drugs that are essentially zombie cell assassins. These molecules are designed to hunt down senescent cells and finally give them the push they need to die. The results in animal trials are not subtle, they are miraculous. When aged mice are given these senolytic compounds, the results are staggering. Their fur gets thicker, their kidney function improves, their hearts become stronger, they can run faster and longer on a treadmill. They don't just live longer, they live healthier. They are, quite literally, rejuvenated. Human trials are underway, and this isn't 100 years away. This is the 10-year horizon. This is the first key in the lock. Tool number 2, the architects, gene therapy. Remember the telomere shoelace caps? What if we could just rebuild them? There's an enzyme called telomerase. Its entire job is to repair and lengthen telomeres. We already have it in our bodies. Using gene therapy tools like CRISPR, scientists are no longer just dreaming of reactivating this enzyme in specific cells. They are doing it. This is not playing God. This is just maintenance. It's a biological architect repairing the foundation of our DNA so the shoelace never unravels. We can edit the genetic bugs that accelerate aging and reinforce the genetic features that promote longevity. Tool number 3, the guardians, the 100-year vision. This is the truly revolutionary step, nanotechnology. Imagine 100 years from now, a single injection. It releases billions of nanobots, microscopic biological machines into your bloodstream. These are not cold metal robots. They are biological, made of a few smart proteins designed to work with your body. They are your personal 24/7 365 immune system 2.0. One nanobot is programmed to patrol your arteries, micro-scrubbing plaque before it can ever cause a heart attack. Another is programmed to hunt and destroy cancer cells, detecting a single malignant cell and killing it before it can become a tumor. A third is programmed to repair your mitochondria, acting as a power plant tune-up crew, ensuring your energy levels remain at their peak. This is the ultimate tool. It doesn't reverse aging, it prevents it from ever happening in the first place. But isn't this just for the super rich? This is the most common and most cynical objection, that this will create a dystopia of immortal elites and a dying underclass. This hypothesis argues the exact opposite. The Great Liberation must and will be for everyone. Why? Not because of morality, but because of pure, cold economics. What is the single greatest financial burden on every developed nation on Earth? It's not defense, it's not education. It is the staggering, astronomical cost of caring for an aging population. The cost of Alzheimer's, the cost of heart disease, the cost of diabetes, the cost of 1 million people in the last 20 years of their lives being a massive drain on the healthcare system. The end of old age is not a cost, it is a savings. It is infinitely cheaper to give everyone a vaccine that prevents aging than to pay for 20 years of hospital care for every single person who gets old. Just like antibiotics, just like vaccines for smallpox and polio, this technology will not be a luxury, it will be a global economic necessity. The liberation must be universal. This is the science. This is the argument. But what does this world look like? What does it feel like to live in a world without fear? If you find this vision of a liberated future inspiring, please consider subscribing to our channel. We don't just report on the future, we explore the ideas that will build it. Now, let us step into a world after the liberation. Imagine it. The year is 2125. Aging is not gone, but it is a treatable condition, like high blood pressure or diabetes. You go for your annual checkup, you get your booster, and you just stay. You stay at your peak. You stay 30 or 40 for as long as you choose. What does this world look like? First, it is a world without fear. Imagine a world where the word Alzheimer's is a historical footnote, a terror from a past, darker age, like the plague. Imagine a world where a 70-year-old is not someone in a nursing home, but someone starting a new company or running their first marathon. Imagine a world where you never have to watch your parents fade away, where you never have to look in the mirror and see the decline. The great liberation isn't just biological, it is psychological. It is the liberation of 8 billion people from their single greatest source of fear and anxiety. Second, it is a world of compounded wisdom. We are losing our greatest minds at the exact moment they become their wisest. A scientist, an artist, a philosopher, they spend 70 years accumulating knowledge, and just as they are ready to synthesize it into true wisdom, their hardware fails. What happens when that doesn't happen? What happens when a brilliant surgeon can continue to operate, mentor, and innovate for 200 years? What happens in an engineer who built the first Mars colony is still around to help design the first extrasolar one? It is an explosion of knowledge, a new renaissance where wisdom is no longer a fleeting candle, but a permanent, growing bonfire. But what about overpopulation? This is the other great fear. If no one dies, won't the world be overwhelmed? The hypothesis argues two things. First, history shows that as health and security increase, birth rates decrease. People have fewer children when they are not in a rush, when they are not afraid. Second, this entire hypothesis is based on radical technological advancement. The same species that cures aging is the same species that masters clean fusion energy, sustainable food production, and, yes, becomes a multiplanetary species. The challenge of overpopulation is a trivial engineering problem compared to the challenge of curing death. We will solve it. For 100,000 years, we have been a species defined by our mortality. We built art, we built religions, we built empires, all in a desperate, frantic race against the clock. We were trying to build something that would last because we could not. The end of old age hypothesis is the final chapter of that race. It is the moment we stopped fighting against the clock and simply stop the clock. This is not a question of if, but when. When this technology arrives, when aging becomes a choice, what will you do with the extra time? What will you finally have the time to become? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below.